Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. And welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be back with y'all today. I hope everyone's having a good day. Good to see a Catholic Brit. Before we dive in, I got a special treat from one of my coworkers. She recently went to Iceland for a trip, and she brought back candy because I have now become known as the guy in the office who will eat any terrible candy. I do blame myself for this. And it all started because of some terrible candy corn flavors. It's almost been a year of doing that. Anyway, she brought something. Tweak. Sweets with benefits. Toffee caramel. Chewy caramel toffee coated with chocolate coating. The thing you don't see is on the back. You know, this handy-dandy little, the nutritional facts. For 100 grams of these, there's 65 grams in a bag, apparently. So let's just say let's call 100 grams as a serving. There is 50 grams of fiber. Why does sweets with benefits sound wrong? Because it is. This is a fiber-rich candy with no added sugar. They have used sugar alcohol, which you can definitely smell. It has that like particular off-gassing. So I'm terrified. I hate sugar alcohols. They taste terrible to me. And my coworker described this as not bad, but weird. Only eat it and show. Don't tempt me. Will we be having many breaks in stream this time with all the fiber? Did she bring back any Hikari from Iceland? That's the famous rotten shark stuff? No, I don't think customs would let her in, fortunately. Anyway, let's try this tweaked toffee caramel. She said the texture was like gooey to crunchy, which is normally the opposite direction that a lot of candies go. Okay. Actually, the outer chocolate's not bad. It's got a little bit of an aftertaste. That center's not crunchy. It's a rock. That's gonna tear out a filling. Oh, it's so bad. That's not good toffee at all. It's like it's burnt toffee. Oh, I think I found where all the fiber is. My goodness. I'm not adding this to the wheel. This is not my candy. She just told me to grab the bag and try one on stream. It's now stuck in my teeth. This is the worst. I want to forget this pain. With a little 5 Guardians of David. Let's see where we left off. Oh. It's stuck back there.
Any news of the Philistines? Last I heard, Saul was fighting them.
My coworker's having a good time, she says.
And they still have Bethlehem under siege.
Ah, Bethlehem. Oh, I miss that place.
Murph.
This is a quiet place. How long have you been here?
Close to a year now, I think. Eleazar?
A little over a year.
David has 600 men now. I am pleased to be one of them.
Oh,
Saul does not seem to be dealing with
do
the
not
Philistines,
recommend.
so I am glad David is.
Is she watching? Yes, I got a text message. She appreciated me saying this is the worst. And she was enjoying it. I don't know if Audrey's still watching, but thank you for sharing, Audrey.
Looking at this behemoth. ugly mug.
He has such a sweet face. What's not to love about it?
Give anything for a drink of water from the well of Bethlehem.
Just the aftertaste.
I would like to do something for him, for saving my city of Keilah.
I am also in David's debt.
What do you have in mind, Shammah?
Have you ever been to Bethlehem? It's lovely this time of night.
Are we gonna get a stealth mission? Okay, let's look at our abilities really quickly, because we quite a few here. So we got basic attack, got meteor slam, a weaker attack, but it regenerates stamina. That's interesting, actually. Camels glow so nicely in the moonlight. Yeah, I mean, bioluminescent. Is that? Wait, no, I don't want to. I was trying to swap that in. I just spent all my points. Now let's rank that up. I like these.
For the glory of...
Time to shine.
Okay. You don't have anything that we can swap in and out, but regenerates. Ooh. Actually, that's really good to regenerate his stamina. Twisted Spear. Dazing opponents nearby. It seems good. Spear Flurry. Let's rank up that and this Pole Vault.
For the Lord.
I thought you'd never ask.
Oh, what's my inventory situation like? Not a
Let's
whole
crack
lot
some
going on here.
skulls.
I thought you'd never ask.
Oh, hey, hey.
Warriors of Israel, from where did you come?
We
The
co-
Philistines
Oh, whoops.
control this place. King Saul has forsaken us. Have you come to aid us?
Well, actually, we just came...
Of course. We are at your service. I am Joshua Beam, and you are...
I am known
Ah,
as Nariah.
Good old Joshua Beam, just
And I
signing
need
everyone
your
up to help.
My sister, Nera, was kidnapped by a repulsive Philistine. I can show you where they are.
Lead on, my lady.
Hello, Philistines. How are you? No, don't get stuck. Don't get stuck on the path.
I can't do that.
Hey, why'd you guys break those pots? That wasn't very nice of you. They're breaking so many things. I know. These terrible... You might say they're Philistines. Quite literally. Go back to Philistia! Please, stop invading us!
I can't do that.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that Father joke. It made me laugh. Problem is, I have the memory of a goldfish, so I don't actually remember what it is, but it was funny.
I can't do that.
Why did we leave the slinger by himself to take out a close combat enemy? That does not seem like good planning. Numbers, but also grammar. Yeah, I remember vaguely that, but again, goldfish brain. I was actually trying to stay away from them so I could heal up. Fine, I'll eat one of my bread. I'm down to 26 bread. What is this?
Thank you so much for helping my sister.
Oh man, goldfish
was
brain
our
is amazing
pleasure.
for confessions.
Now,
And I
you
do
require
fully
an
believe
escort
that the Holy
home
Spirit
to
helps
your
with that,
husband?
but
My
honestly, goldfish brain also helps.
My husband is dead. He was killed trying to defend the village when the Philistines came.
My condolences. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Do not let your heart be troubled, and do not be afraid, for he is now with the Lord.
Thank you. The man responsible is named Dakar.
That seemed a little anachronistic
He
to
does
say
not
that,
deserve to
but
live.
Is this Dakar still in Bethlehem? If so, I would love to have a talk with him.
a
Follow
talk.
me.
All this because we came to get a drink from a well.
I can't do that.
I was not paying attention to my health.
I can't do that.
Okay, this guy's moveset is actually pretty sweet. I swear that is just the sound from Age of Mythology.
Watch out!
Are you all right, my lady?
I'm fine. Thank you.
When you were learning
Stay
about how
here.
to do confessions, did they have
I'll
suggestions
protect you.
guidelines what to when someone confesses a crime? Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about the fact that you can't force someone to turn themselves in, but you can strongly recommend it. I thought you'd be hiding in the shadows. Age of Mythology was a great game. It was. Oh, that's right. There's the new version coming out. I wonder how that's going to be. I should play the original Age of Mythology on here for a Retro Thursday sometime. So you can't make penance be turning yourself in? Yep. Word that it's so easy.
I can't do that.
Oh, hey, Dakar, you're the guy I'm after. Oh no, I fell! You have failed. But get up! Try again. Why did you spawn me back here? I've passed a spawn point! Played the open beta, it's good. Nice. Why would you spawn me back here and then spawn new enemies to make me have to fight on the way back? This is unfair. Click, 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 click. Yesterday, my thumb got sore from button mashing. Now my index finger will get sore from button mashing. Hello, I thought you were enemies for a moment. You scared me.
Watch out!
Are you all right, my lady?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Stay here. I'll protect you.
I better stay near Naraya then. Work my pinky next? Ooh.
I can't do that.
No. So what happened to that Dekar guy? I thought I was supposed to be fighting him. Did I somehow trigger all the fights prematurely and didn't get Naraya in here?
Can't do that. I can't do that.
Okay, this guy has a cool moveset, but dang, does everything take a ton of stamina.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
And you're stuck on the brazier. Then again, so is he, so everything's equal, I guess.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
Okay, now we run away, heal up a bit. There we go. Oh, dang it. It's a waste. No! How did he turn around so quickly? Oh no, do I have to do that again? Is that gonna happen every time I fall?
Now is the moment.
Now is the moment for what? Keep running? Yeah, it looks like I have to redo this
Watch
every
out!
time.
Are
Ooh,
you
that
all
is
right,
going to be
my
rough.
lady?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Stay here.
I think I need to be using my 4 ability, the one that regens my stamina a bit better.
I can't do that.
So that goes for a whole minute.
I can't do that.
Oh, there's Dakar. Okay. Let's play this. We'll save.
I can't do that.
Yeah, I think if I juggle him with 1 and 3, I
can't
can
do that.
daze him pretty well.
I can't do that.
Rotata. Oh, good. It's not like I need to focus or anything. Dang it! Ah! Ah, I'm blaming you, Britt. I didn't say it was your fault. I said I'm blaming you. Anyway, today is the Feast of Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, founder of the Cistercians, which is a Reformation off-branching of Benedictine. So kind of basically, he was born in a wealthy family but desired to live a life of poverty and following Christ. And he was like, okay, the Benedictines are cool, but they're not doing it quite right enough. So he made his own. Which I love when that happens in the church. But anyway, he was a great Mariologist. He was a great theologian. So he's a doctor of the church, actually. But he embodies today's gospel very well. Christ talks about giving up family and receiving 100 times more in heaven. And it's a reminder of the way that God turns the world upside down and turns our lives upside down. Often in unexpected and not necessarily planned or even immediately welcomed ways, but still in ways that do lead us and others closer to God. Pause. Nope, that does not pause. It's like, maybe I have better equipment that I can check on. I'm also not getting any experience from defeating these guys. So it's not like I can just keep redoing this until I get strong enough. Then a little while later, Sister Shimashita called Latrap came along and said, nope, needs to be stricter. Yep, and thus the Trappists were born. I mean, I feel like it's a sign of how you've made it in church history as an order. Do you have a branch that said, you're not doing it austere enough, we'll do better? How many times has it happened in the Franciscans?
I can't do that.
Okay, Dakar's here. Dakar's here. Get out. Get out. Why? What are you stuck on? I couldn't move. I couldn't move. Of course, in art, I always get Bruno and Bernard mixed up because they're both depicted in... because both their habits are white. And by and large, have a pretty similar design. So unless you're looking at an image of Bruno from the side where you can see like they have this like panel connecting their scapular. If you don't see that, it's like, which one is this? Okay, 12 times the charm. Ah! No! When you're baptized is... I mean, technically you don't need either. I mean, it's tradition to have a saint name, but it can be a first name or a middle name, but it doesn't have to be. If you're going to take on a new name, it does have to be a saint name, but, you know, if you're a baby, it can be whatever. Hello? Philistines? Do you want to spawn in? Nope, there is no St. Evan as far as I'm aware. There are several St. Johns. I do not claim a devotion to any particular one vis-a-vis my name, though. No part of my name is a saint except for your confirmation saint? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that's Dakar. Okay. Do that. Eat. Okay, he is spawning right on top of me, so I can't move. What is this? This is baloney. He can out DPS me, so I need to play around him, but I keep getting stuck in his model. Don't stand there. I'll try.
Let's do this.
Let's take a look at our armor options really quickly. Yes, let's add this one. It'll increase our armor by 20 and increase our minimum damage. Up our armor from 6 to 23. Yes, please. Philistine Captain Simla is 5 better armor and better cooldown and better all of that. Oh my goodness. No wonder we were losing. We were so underprotected. Let's change out these turbines. I prefer the damage shawl. Minimum damage plus 109 is 260, so yeah, that's better. Where are your leggings? There are your leggings. What about your hands? Yeah, that's one better. Hey, Duke. Good to see ya. How you doing? Oh, wait. Let's just apply these ones. Ooh, that's pretty. Clear. Max. Yes. Yes. Okay. Now that we're more appropriately kitted out, I think we might actually have a better chance at this. It would help if we didn't get stuck in the boss's hitbox and couldn't move. Doing well, solo gang, swinging things to the new parish. There you go. It's always weird when you move to a new parish as a priest. Because, you like, there's things to be done, and, like, you're learning a lot of things and taking in a lot of information, like, how they do things, where things are, etc. But at the same time, like, you haven't taken on a ton of projects, so you're like, or at least this is me, I feel like I should be busier than I am, but I'm not. That's 100% you right now. See? Oh yeah. We doing much better now. Get dunked on, Philistines. You know it's coming. Yeah, that's the other part. Is you're like, oh, part of your brain is like, oh, this is nice. And maybe I'll have free time to do things, and it won't be that busy at this parish. But the other part of your brain is, the storm is coming. Okay, there's the car, and we did not get stuck in his model.
Do that.
This is big. Let's activate. Let's proc that ability. Ah, it's not quite where I wanted that to go. We just teleported him, so that's cool. I see the Philistines have invested heavily in teleportation magic. No, we got stuck inside of him again.
I can't.
Okay, we got out. Oh.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
Okay, I need to run away so I can eat some bread.
I can't do that.
Yes! We did it! Whew! You bought a couple of games, now you're not sure if you'll have time to play them when September comes around? Yeah. Theological Tuesday. Kill, kill, kill! Well, I mean, it is the Old Testament. textiles. Oh, I need to be level 12 to wear that turban. But maybe...
Time to do the Lord's bidding.
Finally, time to start
For the Lord.
You all have pretty good...
Time to
do the Lord's bidding.
You already all have good sashes. Or shawls.
thank you.
Time to shine.
Good.
Yeah, only
My
Josh
axe
Bean
is
can
ready
wear
for
that.
battle.
Although this shawl is better for you. Oh, this Kopesh. Yeah, Kopesh is better. I went through so much bread. This is technically on brand for Old Testament. Exactly. Technically correct is the best kind of correct.
Finally,
Time to shine.
I've been wanting to.
Let's go.
Okay. Oh, hey, the stores. Let's get a vitality blessing.
Hi, how are you?
I'm just gonna sell. Oh, really quickly.
I thought you'd never ask.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
just gonna
go.
sell everything that's in my inventory. Except for this bow, because that might actually be good for our bow person. Anything I can't wear yet either. Where do I donate this stuff? Sell that bow. Okay, so what do we have here? We have some Israel foot wraps, zeal and evasion way up, and armor pretty good up. Well, maybe like 3 up actually, because that already gives me a little bit there. Nothing really amazing there. Let's check the weapon shop.
Welcome.
Nope.
Welcome. Hello there.
What did I just do? Okay, I don't think I actually bought
Time
anything.
to dull this blade a little, don't you think?
No,
For
you
the
can keep
Lord.
using that. We will, however, buy this sling.
Time to shine.
Chicken! Chicken, 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 chicken. It's like, why didn't that do the spinny thing? Oh, my fingers are on the wrong buttons. Ooh, speed shot. That sounds cool. Roundhouse swing. Tell me more. Skewer. Okay. So hits 3 times at 32% damage, so it's essentially 96 damage. So I think I'm actually going to stick with this because that does 110. But Line in the Sand is good, so I actually want that. I'm going to rank that up twice.
Good. My axe is ready for battle.
Let's rank that up and rank that up.
Let's do this.
You got Charge Shot. Yeah, let's give him Charge Shot. Why not?
Now is the moment.
Spacebar opens that, apparently. I know that because I just hit the spacebar by accident. this game has surprising depth in its character management. And I appreciate that. That's part of what makes this a good Diablo-like.
I can't do that.
Or I guess it's Diablo clone. Why is it Diablo clone, but everything else is like a roguelike, this like? No, I'm dazed.
I can't do that.
It is possible the three took the same path that David had taken from Bethlehem to his fight versus Goliath.
That is... Why are these caches full of non sequiturs? Is this biblical gauntlet? It's more like biblical Diablo. Also good to see a Beer Fox. Most roguelikes are nothing like except in abstract ways. Yeah, but yet the name persists, and it's like or light. Which I know there's debate over which one is which and what it means, but... Wait, why is this chicken is angry with me? Why is this chicken angry with me? Why does this chicken have so much health? Why did the crazy chicken have 3,000 health? Why did it have more health than me? Yeah, I've been enjoying this game, Beer Fox. It's a little rough around some edges, so like you often get stuck on the edges of paths, but by and large it's well put together, it's well told. The management of resources feels fun and interesting. Is the chicken a Zelda
There is
reference?
my home.
Maybe if
I
it was
thank you
like
again,
multiple
warriors.
chickens, but it was just
I think
one
I
random
just
chicken out of
fell in love.
nowhere. And it attacked me, like, without provocation.
I can't do that.
Nope, get... See, that's what I mean by getting stuck sometimes. Ooh, 2 stunners at one time is not great. Oh, it was 3. Yeah, that's especially a problem. No one expects the Chicken Inquisition. No, it's true. Now, if it was some cardinals... I wonder if this game has Bathsheba quests. Yeah,
By pouring
Bathsheba...
out the water, David showed that he never wanted his men to take useless risks just to please him.
Well, way to spoil the ending of the story. Yeah, the Bathsheba episode of VeggieTales is interesting. I do appreciate how they tried to frame it in a way that kids can A, understand, and B, is a useful lesson to them, but it's also just like, this is the story you chose to teach lesson about? Hello?
Time to shine.
For the glory of the Lord!
We're just gonna leave you behind, my friend. Oh, you're gonna teleport.
Time to do the Lord's bidding.
Yeah, I don't know how far into David's life this game goes. Like, are we gonna be running Abishad through while his hair is stuck in a tree?
I can't do that.
That was odd. Yeah, like I said, sometimes games are a little unpolished. It's a good trident. Ooh. Philistine Captain's Shawl. Everything... Okay, does max damage just have min damage? I think that's fine.
Thank you. My axe was...
Time to shine.
I thought you'd never ask.
Oh, your bracers are awful. You need to get you new bracers.
Follow me.
And you have nothing on your hands? What is this?
I thought you'd never ask.
Time to shine.
Yeah, they had to market that episode differently.
Have you noticed how Joshua Beam and Eleazar have become friends with Shama? They are 3 best friends already.
Where are they, anyway? It's time for them to start drills.
Here is a token of my appreciation for saving Keilah. Water from the well at Bethlehem.
We would not give you a gift that costs nothing.
Yes, but the Philistines had to pay the price. It cost them 100 lives.
You don't have to sound so happy about it.
The Lord forbid that I ever again endanger the life of any of my men through my careless words or acts. I cannot drink this water.
Aw, he's still good and wise.
I understand your concerns, all of your concerns. My mind is made up.
They are the enemy. How can we trust them?
As long as Saul is king, all of our lives are in danger. He will not stop hunting us, and no place is safe for us in the lands of Israel or Judah. Philistia is the only place Saul cannot reach us. We must do this.
Is that a good idea after all the, Philistines that we've been fighting?
Tell your lord Achish that I accept his terms. We leave for Gath in the morning.
I will deliver your response at once.
David and his followers departed the lands of Israel and entered into the lands of their oldest enemies, the Philistines. And David offered
how you
his
spell
service
Egyptians.
to Achish, son of Maok, king of Gath. Achish bestowed upon David the town of Ziklag, where his followers could live and be at peace. For more than 1 year, David and his followers raided many lands along the borders of southern Israel. They raided the savage barbarians known
Beats
as the
are
Amalekites. And the Geshurites, and he fought against the tribe. He did not raid any Israelites. When asked by Achish where he had raided on any given day, David would reply, against the lands of Israel. So Achish was completely deceived as to David's loyalties.
Well, there you go. Also, I appreciate that this game is voice acted, so I don't have to do it.
David and his men learned many new tactics and strategies from the Philistines. David served under Achish and became a trusted advisor of the Philistine king, trusted enough to join the king's army to wage war against King Saul and the Israelites. Although Achish trusted David very much, his generals did not. They argued with the king that David and his men were Israelites and would turn on them once the battle with King Saul began. And so Achish, son of Maok, king of Gath, told David that he must take his men and return to Ziklag. Upon their return, they find their home in ruins. In their absence,
Oh my.
vicious Amalekite raiders had attacked Ziklag. They stole all the wealth David and his men had amassed, and worse, they took everyone captive. David was greatly distressed by what they found when they returned. His wives, Ahinoam and Abigail, were among those taken captive. David's men were distraught over the loss of their wives and children. They blamed David and spoke of stoning him.
Hey, boss. Good to
What
see
has
ya.
happened to your family has happened to my family. But I trust in the Lord, who has never let me down. All of you who trust in the Lord and want to follow me must cross this line. Priests, bring the ephod.
And David inquired of the Lord, "Shall I pursue the raiding party? Will I overtake them?"
Should he be wearing the ephod if he's going to use it?
The Lord replied, "Pursue them. You will certainly overtake them and succeed in the rescue." David knew the answer would come true because he trusted the Lord.
Why does David have blue eyes? So now that we have the full party back. We have Eleazar and Benaiah with us again. Instantly a much better sword. Actually, it's a great... Wow, that 704 is max damage. That's kind of nuts, actually. But otherwise, not a lot. Oh, I need to up their abilities. Nope. I'm gonna give him the stamina shot, since that will increase his... It brings back... It's not as much damage. Although 95 to 100 is really not that much different. But it does bring back his stamina, which is pretty handy. Cleave. Multiple enemies. That sounds helpful. That also sounds helpful. All right. Nope. It's not that. But where's my spear guy? I want to use him. Hello. Oh, that's not the way I'm supposed to go. Blue eyes? Because Western beauty standards? Yeah, I get that, but it's just... It's a weird anachronism. Okay, I'm opening these and there's nothing in them. It's either the way it's supposed to be or it's a glitch. I choose no other options.
Can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that.
It's telling me I've retrieved plunder, but I don't see a whole lot of plunder. What do I know? I've never plundered anything. Oh, the Amalekites are tall. Cool, we leveled up. You don't walk around plundering things your daily life? Shaking my head. Oh, I'm sorry. The NYPD would frown upon it.
David led Akish to believe he was raiding Israel, but he was actually raiding Israel's enemies. So he was only pretending to be a partner of the Philistines in the war.
Thank you for explaining the cutscene that we just saw that explained it pretty clearly.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
Oh, I'm getting plenty of drops, that's for darn sure. Could actually use a shop. We got a hammer in the point, though. Is this what they mean when they say get on the point? Is this what so many Overwatch players are talking about? So our best explanation of who the Philistines were based on archaeological record is that they were Greeks who migrated part of the Sea of peoples who invaded a lot of stuff in the Eastern Mediterranean. Oh, interesting. I did not know that. Ooh, I'm actually almost out of space. Okay, yeah, your current sash is much better. Your sash is much better. 14 to 16, but plus some health. Stick with it. Oh, and you have no sash. So Overwatch players have no clue what a point is or where it is or how to capture it. Late Bronze Age, early Iron Age migrations are pretty cool. Yeah, I would agree. Oh. That seems like a pretty good hammer, but it doesn't have as much max damage, so I'm going to stick with the sword I have. 100 armor? You serious? That is a huge Burkadoo father joke. Well, this is basically the same thing. You'll appreciate this one, Nanakit. I tried to beat my mom tried to beat me at Scrabble, but I wouldn't let her. So close, yeah. The Talmud has rather explanation for the reason why Goliath is called son of Gath. It's because his father could have been literally any of the men in Gath, and nobody can tell which one. Oh, interesting. That's a lot. You know, I kind of just want to have him have so much armor he can just charge into battle. And not be hurt. He is going full tank mode. Burkadoo. How far ahead do I plan my homilies? Do I write them out ahead of time or just have an outline? So I write my homilies typically 1 week out in advance. So I start on the Sunday before, sometimes the Monday, depending on how life be. But yeah, typically a week, sometimes week and a half, depending on if, like, how much ahead of time knowledge I have and can prepare. But usually a week. If it's a daily mass, the day before. Daily mass homilies, no notes. Don't even write anything down. Just look at them, think about it, pray about it, come up with an idea, go. Weekend homilies, I will write out an outline typically. Not always, but most of the time. But I never take it with me to the Ambo. Hey, Shano Vision. Good to see ya. Hope you're doing well. Sorry for the boringness of item management. Give you that, Kopesh. $74 armor, yes please. Hey, you're pretty up to date. You're pretty up to date as well. Just gonna take a look at some. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Every priest is different, and
As the Philistines gathered for the final battle against Saul, the Philistine commanders refused to allow David to participate.
I know
They
some
assumed
would,
he turn against them.
never go to the podium without the full script in front of them. And you know what? If that's what you need, that's what you need. But for me, I find I don't. Excuse me, David. David just T-posed for a bit. He just kind of warped around. So that's where I'm going next. So where's this last captive? Oh, there he is. I just missed him. A priest you knew. Prayer at the NEC and a homily soon, which got me about how far. Yeah. Yeah, and if it were for something big or special, like, you know, if I were preaching at the NEC, I'd probably take a little more time. But I freed you, bro. I'm sorry. Where is it that can use these hammers? Oh, you're not there yet. Okay. Oh, sweet. A shop. I can sell everything I have.
Since their families had been kidnapped, David's men were ready to stone him. Through his reliance on God, he was able to lead his men to trust in him and win a total victory over the Amalekites.
Oh, actually, I need to look at that shield on... What's his face? Yeah, we can hold on to that spear for now. Those are just common, so I imagine we'll get more. Sweet. And yeah, I don't need anything from that shop, but you have a shield. Great. How does this shield compare? Oh, it's better overall armor. We're making you and the other sword guy tank. Because I have 2 tanks. I basically have this guy for like quick attack in the immediate vicinity. And then 2 ranged. Okay, well, Massey was going to use it, but it's fine line. Well, that's awesome to bring back reflections so that others can fight them. You know, my Amalekite dudes, you might survive a bit better if you had, you know, armor. The shield is the biggest invention of self-protection. Is it the shield or is it just armor in general? Also, good to see you, Gale. Hope you're doing well.
Can't do that.
Fine, give yourself a buff.
I can't do that.
I get the impression the Amalekite surviving isn't quite what's supposed to happen. Yeah. Level is gained. Crippling shot. Just shoot them in the Achilles tendon. Setting boundaries with the mom was the biggest invention of self-protection. Fair enough. Good to see a bad Roxy. Shields are cheaper to make and later more effective. That's fair. And more versatile, because, like, a lot of armor has to be...
I can't do that.
Designed for a particular person, I suppose.
I can't do that.
Shields only offer +2 AC. Roxy makes a good point.
With the Amalekites defeated, David and his men were reunited with their families, who had been taken captive. Every man, woman, and child that had been taken from Ziklag was accounted for.
Yay!
The Amalekites were proficient raiders and had amassed a large amount of plunder. David and his men took it all. David sent much of the loot to the elders of Judah with the message, "Here is a gift to you from the plunder of the Lord's enemies." In this way, David built relationships.
Why is this
that he
game
would
made so
soon
well?
need.
Because the
400
people actually
Amalekites
cared
managed
about
to
making
flee
a
on
good game.
camels. David and his men had no mounts with which to give chase, and thus
They also
these
probably actually had some
400
decent
young
funding.
men escaped David's
I think
wrath.
that might also be a factor. Also good to see a squirrel.
David then turned his anger toward King Saul.
Oh.
If Saul had done as the Lord commanded, this never would have happened in the first place.
Forget what lies behind you, David. Instead, be thankful. The Lord has delivered our victory today.
You're right, Shammah. The Amalekites will pay. for
Yeah,
their
this is a
crimes.
huge step above most of the
I
other
will follow
games.
the
You're
command of
entirely
Moses
right.
to wipe out the Amalekites, even if Saul
It
did
works. Like that's we've encountered some glitches, you know, the occasional getting stuck on the edge of a path, which is like, okay, you know, figuring out exactly where you have the boundaries and how they interact. I get it. That's fair. But like these cutscenes, they're well voice
There was
acted.
peace after David and his
It's a
men
really
returned
cool
from the
style to
raid
do it
on
as
the
the comic book.
Amalekites.
The combat
Every
feels
man,
good. There's
woman,
really
and
good
child
depth.
had been rescued, and he was hailed as a hero once again. David spent his time rebuilding Ziklag for his people. He had been keeping himself busy. He had been trying not to think about the fate of the battle in which he had almost fought. He had been trying not to think about Saul and his army. News had come about the battle on Mount Gilboa. David was informed about how the Philistines had routed the Israelite army and killed the sons of the king. But worse still, Saul, anointed king of the Lord, was dead.
Oh no,
David's heart was heavy at the loss of Saul.
David, you have a
For
job to
all
do
their
now.
animosity, David loved his king. David wrote of his loss for the king. While his soul ached, he composed a lament for Saul. He was determined all of the people of Judah should be taught the lament, so they should not forget their fallen king and all he had done for them. After some time, David inquired of the Lord. He asked, "Shall I return to Judah? Shall I go to the cities, Lachish, Arad, Hebron?" And the Lord replied, "Go to Hebron." David brought his men and their families to settle in the city of Hebron. The elders of Judah came to Hebron and anointed David king over the lands of Judah and all of its people.
He was already anointed, though he didn't. I know that one's for sure, but theologically,
Meanwhile, in the city of Gibeah, Saul's only surviving son, the young Ishbosheth, became king of Israel and Judah after his father's death. A courier has come with news from the south. He was told of Judah proclaiming David king in the south. The young king of Israel vowed to crush David and put an end to his rebellion.
how's that going to go,
The men of Judah
Ishbosheth?
rose up to fight for their king. Ishbosheth had called upon the Asherites, the Ephraimites, and Benjamites to fight for him. The men for David fought for their king, anointed by the Lord. Ishbosheth's men fought for the son of a fallen king. Each man fought fiercely. Many died bravely. David and Ishbosheth fought for 2 years. The war between the king of the Israelites was ended when a pair of misguided men murdered the son of Saul while he slept. David lamented the loss of Saul's only remaining son with sadness, even though he knew it would put an end to the bloodshed. The men of Asher, Benjamin, Ephraim, and Israel came to David in Hebron. There they made a covenant with him and accepted his rule. As Saul had once done, David had united the tribes of Israel under one king, anointed by the Lord Almighty. David decided that his new capital city should lay in the middle of his kingdom and chose the Jebusite city of Jerusalem. The Jebusites of Jerusalem rejected David's plan to make their city his new home. They insulted the new king and stated he could not enter the city. David met with his top men to devise a plan to capture the city. David declared that whoever
seems an
delivered the city to him would be made general of all his armies. David's men continued
Seems an
to devise
exponential
a plan of
response.
attack.
Being like,
Meanwhile, Joab
Instead
has
of just
gained
picking
some
another city,
valuable
but-
information from the unlikeliest of sources.
this is a long cutscene.
David led his army from Hebron north to Jerusalem, where they laid siege to the city.
Man, it sure would be
Joab
fun if I
spoke
could
with
play
an
any
old
of
beggar
these.
Who told him of an alternative way to
It's a
enter
shame
the
I've not been
city of
involved in any
Jerusalem.
other fights.
Joab explains his plan to the five. Enter the city through the secret waterway shown to him by the old beggar, and open the gates to the city from the inside. It would be up to the five to deliver the city to David.
Okay, that works. So-
Greetings! I have been waiting for you for quite some time.
You're one of the guys we can
Our
deliver the
apologies,
things
my
to.
friend. Someone got us lost. Again.
This again? How is this my fault?
Can we not continue this eternal argument?
There has been a complication with the city gate. You see, the defenders have removed the windlass that controls the opening mechanism.
What does that mean?
The gates cannot be opened without it.
Oh, that's a problem.
If we can find some rope, a winch, and a heavy weighted stone, I could probably rig something together. I can't do that.
A lot of these factions I mostly remember based on where they show up in Liturgy of the Hours with the
Can't do
Psalms.
that.
Because, like, Jebusites get mentioned alongside the Perizzites.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
Jerusalem was a small walled city built over the Gihon Spring. Its position on the steep ridges made it a good fortress. At the time of David, it covered less than 15 acres.
I've never been to Jerusalem. I imagine that the city is much larger than 15 acres at this point. Quite. No, I've never been. Yeah. But I mean, that's any really modern city for you.
Can't do that.
Old City is now 220 acres. Yeah, so even from this statistic to the time of Christ, it grows about 20 times in size. Yeah, it's, for 2015, for a little indie studio, like, it looks entirely fine. I don't think it's going to win any awards, but... Hello, spam call. They did make a sequel that wasn't as well received, that I think is set in the time of the Judges. Might look into playing that at some point. Smack some pots. Why are my tanks hanging out in the back of the line and my ranged guys are in the front? Armor's heavy. Fair. I don't think the game has taken that into account, though.
Israelites, I beseech you.
Jehoshaphat,
My name
are you
is
gonna jump?
Jehoshaphat of the Jebusites. Not all of us are enemies to King David. Many of us welcome his coming. Please help us. There is a wicked man that is oppressing those of us that are loyal to King David. Can you not put an end to his tyranny? I can't do that.
Joab became the commander of the army because he led the assault on Jerusalem. Joab, Abishai's brother, kept his title during the remainder of David's kingship.
I mean, it's a good title to keep. Sweet. We're getting all sorts of levels here in Jerusalem. Israelite leather general's leather leggings, yes. Ooh, that is a good helmet. It's a big rock. It's a very powerful rock, actually. The spam calls are powerful today. The problem with making Bible games most of the time, doing the right thing is the opposite of what makes the fun action story. Yeah. Although this game kind of manages to make it work. You put 10k on me in the finale, Guff. Hey, it's all good. It was a lot of fun to be there. Yeah, I saw the gambling results. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone who put points on me. Oh, actually, since we've leveled up a couple of times, so not inventory abilities. Stick with fire shot. Knockback. 300% damage. Yes. I was not going to jamble with how crazy the other episodes were. Yeah. The finale was much lighter jamble than the original round. I had all my points bet on you then. Yeah. No, I feel like on that one it was a bit safer to root for me, just because like it was my tournament. So I was like, yeah, you know, he should make to the end. I think. I don't want him to rush forward. I already have that. Let's max it out. You never know when someone's going to dump 40k of their points. Yeah. That tournament got wild with some of the pay to win. And I admit I was part of the problem.
I can't do that.
Because I totally just dumped all my points for Mel. But it was that whole day was fun. Those are 5 super fun games. For a moment, I saw the mission of Find the Winch as Find the Witch. I was like, that's the wrong Bible story. That's Saul going to the Witch of Endor. Spent 120 points on me. Well, thank you. Come on. Go through. Ooh, this is the hardest obstacle in this entire game. There we go. I just had to go through the other door.
Welcome.
Yeah, we'll give you that really quickly. And sell that. Okay. No? No blessing? She'll give me a blessing. Main villain, the camera. Yeah, well, the problem is that, like, it was trying to send my guy to the upper level of the wall there. Like, they had clearly on the map, which you can't see, which is because it's behind my head. But there are 2 doors, but the lower one just does not work quite right. How did I get knocked out? Everyone else was knocked out.
I can't do that.
All right, well, the oppressor's taken care of. Why did I have to find that specific stone? Like, surely I could have found any number of other stones or bricks. In the 1985 movie Ewoks, first of all, why are you referencing the existence of that? They actually do have a Witch of Endor. To be honest, I have not watched any of the spin-off stuff, so I really can't comment on whether it is good or bad.
I can't do that.
Are you saying Star Wars was the peak Star Wars was the only TV Christmas special? Oh, okay, that I have watched, and that is painful. I haven't even watched all of it. I've tried to watch it.
With the windlass having been repaired, David's men needed only to open the city gates to ensure victory for their king.
Oh, now what?
This is the end of your run through my city, Israelites.
And I suppose you think you are going to stop us?
Even the blind and lame could stop your little king's army. You five are the best he can send? Well, then we have nothing to fear. Come.
Need to keep it to only show George Lucas's hubris. Fair. I don't think you need to zoom in on just that. Heh. Let me use my ability? Hello? I can't attack anyone. Oh, you can only attack Naziah, apparently. Who is huge!
I can't do that.
Look how massive this lad is.
I can't do that.
Novels written by Kevin J. Anderson was peak? I don't know. I'm gonna just stand Star Wars Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back is peak Star Wars.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
A good laughing picture needs to have its own tongue. Yes, but it still feels so unnecessary on that panel, but okay. So he's knocked out.
I can't do that.
And I almost got knocked out, and I'm the last one alive.
I can't do that.
Oh no, one of my heavily armored dudes is still alive. Oh dear. Okay. I have died. Oh, but it's just gonna do the thing where it respawns me back to where things were. Cool.
I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't.
On the one hand, I do appreciate that the AI teammates don't eat your bread. On the other hand, I wish they would heal.
can't do that.
You have the first run in hardback of the Thrin trilogy. That's pretty cool.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
Yeah, we dunked on that nerd, so we can go.
And Nathan spoke the word of the Lord, as God had declared it unto him. I will make a dynasty for you. When the time comes for you to die, I will raise up one of your own children to succeed you. He will build a temple in my name, and I will establish his royal throne forever. I will be a father to him, and he will be a son to me. Whenever he does wrong, I will discipline him, but I will never take my faithful love away from him, like I took it from Saul, whom I set aside in favor of you. Your dynasty and your kingdom.
Boy, howdy, is Saul gonna get some chastisement? Not Saul. Solomon gonna get some chastisement.
You are righteous, that you shall inherit the land and dwell upon it forever. And so shall your lines endure, and carry on for as long as the house of David is in need of your counsel. Always shall your lines be faithful to him and his, to protect and to advise. Your words are your vow, and your actions are your legacy.
I pledge my will, my service, and my life to David, son of Jesse, the Lord's anointed king of Israel and Judah.
I will be a radiant light in the darkness, forever illuminating a path in his days of uncertainty.
My sword will be his righteous blade of vengeance against the adversaries of his house.
Edgelord.
My shield will be the protector of the weak and frail, an indomitable barrier that defends his people.
I like you.
I will be the flame of truth as I bring justice to all who seek malice upon his lands.
I shall be a vessel of the Lord's will, and shall establish a virtuous path for all of his line to follow.
Never will I cause harm to his people, or sow mistrust in the hearts of his men. In my service he shall not receive false counsel. My children will be bound to his, and shall uphold the same covenant I declare this day. All of this I pledge to him, his line, and his house forever.
Remember this covenant forever, for 1,000 generations and beyond, as you stand before the house of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, who became Israel. Through the house of Judah comes David, your king, your commander, your king.
You said your king twice.
You knelt before the Lord and your king. Now, rise as the protectors of his name. Rise, rise.
Stream shouldn't be presented. It could just be the
Rise, you 5 guardians of David. Rise,
the comic
and
book
stand
nature of this.
before the Lord our God, as I bear witness to your covenant.
Double king blessing, double your nobility.
You were instrumental in delivering Jerusalem to me, my friends. It was a great triumph, and I am forever in your debt. I have made Joab commander of my armies, Abishai. Your brother has served me well. He declared that we call Jerusalem by my name, and so it is done. Come, follow me. I have a gift for you.
You wonder if that any of the House David still stands? As I understand it, it's really only the Levites that are still kind of actively known, but I could be wrong on that.
I'm sure you're wondering why I dragged you down here. You see, after we took the city, I had my men survey the waterways below. They found something wonderful. They found this.
Oh, we've been seeing those all over the land.
What exists above us is now called the City of David. It was previously known as Jebus and Jerusalem, and the Fortress of Zion before that. The heart of this fortress is in your 5 houses. Zion, the fortress of King David, is not situated above us, for it exists down here, in this place. I have had my finest stonemasons and architects create this place.
This is purely apocryphal.
They shaped it into what you see now. They created a home from a cave. It is wondrous. It is Zion. All of this I give to you and yours.
This sounds like it's going to serve as a hub.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and welcome to Zion. We are all very excited to show you our new home. Please, speak to each of the wives before returning to me. Why don't you start with Abishai's lovely wife first?
I thought Zion was in Utah. I grew up in that Zion. It is not a promised land.
I see you have found the reliefs. King David had them commissioned to chronicle your exploits together. Please, look through them at your leisure. They are, after all, his story, as much as your own.
Filled with tourists. Okay, this is giving a sense of how long this game is, because... Okay, so that's the comic viewer. Why does it go from 2 to 4? Is this an endgame hub, or is this...
Welcome to the armory. Here you may train in the art of warfare and perfect your skills.
Zion Park is gorgeous. Well, not... Yeah, it is one of the parks. My brain went... But yeah. Ah, stash. You gonna talk? No? Okay. This... Oh. Okay.
This vault is where I've been storing all of the valuables and trophies you've collected in your battles and travels. Everything is arranged and ordered by my own hand. Please, if you decide to pick something, put it back where it came. And yes, I am talking to you, Jashobeam.
Ooh.
The podium. An intelligent heart acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. Do you have the insight to answer my questions?
Oh no! There are... Wait. Chat, do you see something wrong with this? Act 1, Act 2, Act 4, Act 5, Act 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... Where's 3? But this gives us a sense of how long the game is. So I think I'm actually going to call it there for the day. A little early, but no 3 or 12. Exactly. Just need to finish Desert Solitaire. But yeah, I think we'll call it there. And I think that'll be a good place to pick it up again next week. Nope, wrong button. I was like, why isn't it transitioning scenes? I pressed the wrong button. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today. It's been fun going through more 5 Gardens David. I'm excited to keep going through this. So yeah, it was good. Join us again tomorrow for more midweek Minecraft. I've done a little bit of work on the church behind the scenes, so we're going to keep working on that. And then on Thursday, we're going to do, for Throwback Thursday, doing a Power Ranger Power Hour. I've got a lot of old Power Ranger Super Nintendo games that I love and I want to share. So we're just going to have some fun and giggles. Thank you to everyone who's liked, followed, subscribed. Thank you for checking out the Discord, the YouTube. Shout out to you, YouTube. And I think that's it. So I'll see everyone again tomorrow. Is it true that Theophilus needed to chop down a tree? He used the axe of the apostles. All right, I'm going to see who I can raid you into. Gonna send you on over to Webby Pumpkin. He's the pumpkin full of the power of positivity. He looks like he's watching Gamecom. I don't know. Can't read that far. But it looks like it's gaming news, so it should be good times. Raid calls just Father Raid as usual. Spam that meet more if you've got it. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care and God bless.